The 1970 Washington quarter. Now this is actually the proof coin. So this is the 1970S San Francisco Mint Washington quarter, and it's been double struck. So we can see that here on the images displayed, we see the word Liberty there struck. The whole design of the coin has been struck and rotated. We see "In God We Trust," the phrase there towards the bottom by Washington's neck. And then we also see the date 70 twice, and the mint mark, the S mint mark there on the right side of the coin. So because of that error, this coin sold for over $1,900. Alright, next up on the 1970 quarter, you want to look for doubling. So this is the 1970D Denver Minted Washington quarter. You want to look for doubling on the front of the coin, specifically there on the date. If you look at that one, you can really see the doubling there at the top and on the side. So always be on the lookout for that. If we look at the 7 there, we can also see that as well. So always look for doubling on the date 1970. Now here's an example of a 1970D that has that doubling on the front of the coin. It's graded at about uncirculated 50, and this coin sold for over $1,200. A $1,200 quarter here. Now if we move on to the next one, this is the same type of coin. It's graded at a mint state 65, however. So it's got a much higher grade than the last coin, but it still has that doubling on the front of the coin. So we go from a $1,200 coin to this coin here selling for over $2,800. So a big difference just because of the condition or the grade of the coin. Now for the reverse of the 1970 quarter, you also want to look for doubling on the lettering as well. So if you guys want to see your coins up close, get you a USB coin microscope on couchcollectibles.com. Link is always in the description of each video. So here's an example of the 1970D that has that double die reverse, that DDR. And this 1970 Washington quarter sold for over $1,500. $1,500. Now this next quarter here is obviously an error coin. So it is missing the clad layer. So very interesting error coin here. Would love to find something like this in my pocket change. This coin is not the most valuable, but it's still a $100 quarter. We can see the copper inner layer of the quarter there on the front because of that missing clad layer. And then there on the reverse, you see the clad layer is still there. So very cool error coin, $100 quarter. Also an off-center error. This one is struck pretty much off-center. It's struck 55% off-center. So you can look for this type of error on just about any type of coin. And this 1970 quarter sold for over $125. For the 1970D, the high-graded version of the coin, this coin doesn't have any types of errors or anything like that. This is just an extremely high-graded coin, which means it's in excellent condition. This coin sold for over $2,900. Moving right along to a 1970D Washington quarter that was struck on a 10-cent planchet. So that means that this quarter was struck on a dime, essentially. So it's graded at about uncirculated 58. You can see that the whole design of the quarter does not fit on the planchet, and this coin here sold for over $390. Now also, we want to look at this quarter because this 1970 quarter was actually struck on a 5-cent planchet. So like the last one was struck on a dime, this quarter design was actually struck on a nickel. And that's why we see the whole design not fitting on this coin. Now this coin here sold for a little over $90. So we do the dime, we do the nickel. This quarter here was struck on a 1-cent planchet. We see the coloration of the penny there, struck on a penny. A little bit blurry, but still this quarter sold for over $1,000. Moving on to a 1970 no mint mark. So this is not the D mint mark, it's the no mint mark Washington quarter. And it's graded by PCGS at a mint state 67. So an extremely high grade again for this quarter. It doesn't have any types of errors. It's just a valuable coin because of how good of condition it's actually in. Now this coin here sold for over $2,000 US. This next coin is a really cool coin. I've shown this in one of my other videos. It's a 1970S that's been struck on a Philippine 25-cent planchet. So we see the design of the Philippine coin actually on the quarter, which is amazing. I absolutely would love to find something like this in my pocket change. These are the type of errors that I just dream about finding one day. Cannot wait to find one of those. I found error coins, but nothing this extreme. This quarter here sold for over $4,600. Here's just an example of a couple quarters that we're selling on eBay, just to show you guys that there's actually bids on these quarters on eBay. These ones pictured specifically have the double die reverse that we showed you. You can see that they're selling for over $50, $70, and they still have days left for bidding. Here's another quarter that's sold on eBay. This one was struck on a dime, similar to that one that we showed you before, but a little bit different. And they're asking over $3,000 for this error quarter, and 20 people were watching the auction. So not sure if they sold it, but still asking $3,000 and 20 people watching, that's pretty crazy, but I doubt they got $3,000 out of it. Next up, one of my favorite quarters. I've done a whole video about this one as well. This one they were asking for over $100,000. It was graded by Annex. It's a 1970D that was struck through plastic, so we can see that they're taking place on the front of the Washington quarter. Could you imagine getting $100,000 for a coin you found in your pocket change? That would be insane. Next up is a very, very famous quarter from 1970. It's a 1970S that has been struck on a 1941 Canadian quarter. So a 1941 Canada quarter, and we actually could see the design of the Canadian quarter here on the Washington quarter, which is amazing. Like I said, these are my favorite types of errors, and they are very, very valuable. You see the 1941 example here, where you can see the date of the 1941 on the Washington quarter. Now they're asking over $35,000 for this quarter, so a very, very expensive coin here. Don't forget to go check out all my other videos, guys, about rare coins and collectibles to look for. And until tomorrow, I'll see you all in the comment section below. This is Couch Collectibles, and this is where I disappear.